top 5 most devastating fires in history. Wildfires have caused tons of damage in history, but some of them are carved on our minds for the sheer level of trauma that they caused. Today, let's look at the top 5 most devastating fires in history. We'll discuss the recent Hawaii fires that were all over our social media feeds and take a dive into history to explore similar fires. So, take a back seat so we can get started with the video. Hawaii fires. In August 2023, sunny Maui, Hawaii faced a nightmare. Wildfires that spread like wildfire in just 1 week. These blazes brought not just destruction, but also heartbreak, becoming the deadliest wildfires in the United States in over a century. It's a tragedy that shook not only the Hawaiian community, but the whole country as well. The Hawaii National Guard sprung into action, calling up hundreds of troops to lend a hand in dealing with this disaster. Firefighters, true heroes, went all out to battle the flames. But boy, did they have their work cut out for them. Hundreds of folks were still missing, and the island was grappling with an overwhelming sense of grief. Officials couldn't sugarcoat it. They warned that the death toll might shoot up as search teams, alongside trusty cadaver dogs, combed through the scorched landscape. It was a heart-wrenching task, searching for signs of life amidst the charred ruins. In response to this catastrophe, the White House kicked into high gear with a response. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden announced that they'd be visiting Hawaii at the earliest opportunity, ensuring that every resource necessary was deployed to help Maui recover. Now, let's talk about what ignited these fiery nightmares. The exact cause remains shrouded in mystery, and it's likely we may never know. But what we do know is that the flames were relentless and their impact was devastating. Thousands of people were left homeless, and Lahaina, a historic town, was particularly hit hard. Amidst the heartache, stories of tragedy and resilience emerged. Donna Hartley couldn't reach her sister Carol as the flames engulfed Lahaina. Carol's partner tried to save her, but fate had a cruel twist in store. A family of 4, Faso and Malui Fanoa Atone, Solote Takafua, and her son Tony Takafua tragically lost their lives as they tried to escape the inferno in a burned-out car. It's a gut-wrenching loss that left the community reeling. And then there were heroes. Retired fire captain Jeff Bogar and his friend Franklin Trejo stayed behind, initially to help others and save Bogar's house. But as the flames closed in, they knew they had to get out. Bogar made it, but Trejos wasn't as fortunate. When Bogar returned, he found the remains of his friend, along with the treasured remains of their golden retriever, Sam. Through all this heartbreak, what shone through was the incredible strength of the Maui community. People rallied together, offering support and comfort to those who had lost so much. 2007 California wildfires. Let's take a trip back to the fall of 2007 and talk about something that truly rocked California: the 2007 California wildfires. Try to imagine that California is ablaze, and not in a good way. At its peak, there were more than 9,000 separate fires wreaking havoc across the state. These infernos were so massive that they weren't just local news, they were making headlines worldwide. In fact, they were so colossal that you could actually spot them from space. Yes, you heard that right, space. Approximately 1 million acres of beautiful California land, from scenic Santa Barbara County all the way down to the US-Mexico border, were turned into ashes. The destruction was mind-boggling, and it wasn't just the land that suffered. Human lives were at stake. As the fires raged on, the situation became so dire that in October, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger declared a state of emergency in 7 counties. That's right, the Terminator himself had to step in to deal with this crisis. And it didn't stop there. President George W. Bush also recognized the gravity of the situation and called for federal aid to assist the heroic efforts of state and local firefighters. When the smoke finally cleared, the aftermath was staggering. More than 1 million people were displaced from their homes, their lives uprooted by the relentless fires. And when we talk about the financial toll, it's mind-boggling. Damages soared into the billions of dollars. Great Hinckley Fire. Now, we take a step back and go to September 1894 and head over to Hinckley, Minnesota for a tale that's both tragic and astonishing, the Great Hinckley Fire. Hinckley and its surroundings were right in the middle of a brutal 2-month drought during the summer of 1894. It was a recipe for disaster. Small fires started popping up in Pine County, and given the dry conditions and the ground covered with branches and harvested trees, these flames were like wildfire. Literally. As you can probably guess, things escalated quickly. The fires spread with terrifying speed, engulfing everything in their path. The town of Hinckley, along with several nearby settlements, which altogether covered more than a whopping 200,000 acres, was reduced to ashes. It was an absolute catastrophe. The exact number of lives lost in this inferno is challenging to pin down, but it's estimated that over 400 people perished in this devastating blaze. The Great Hinckley Fire remains one of the deadliest fires in Minnesota's history, a grim reminder of the destructive power of nature and the immense challenges faced by communities when disaster strikes. Great Chicago Fire. The Great Chicago Fire of October 1871. Let's dive into this historical inferno that changed the Windy City forever. On the night of October 8, 1871, a seemingly harmless little fire started in a barn on DeCoven Street. Little did anyone know it would turn into one of the most devastating fires in American history. Fast forward 2 days, and Chicago was in ruins. An astonishing 3.3 square miles of the city had been reduced to ashes, and the damage was estimated at a jaw-dropping $220 million. That's a colossal sum even by today's standards, let alone in the 1870s. Now, here's where the story gets even more heart-wrenching. The Chicago Fire Department responded swiftly, but things took a tragic turn due to a watchman's mistake. Firefighters ended up at the wrong location, and by the time they realized their error, the inferno was beyond their control. It was a cruel twist of fate. The fire's rapid spread was aided by a perfect storm of factors. Drought conditions had left the city parched and ready to burn, and the prevalent use of wood as the primary building material meant that once the flames got going, there was little to stop them. As for how the fire actually started, that remains a mystery to this day. There are plenty of theories, but no one knows for sure what sparked the blaze. But here's the silver lining. Chicago learned from this devastating disaster. Today, the Chicago Fire Academy stands on DeCoven Street, a powerful reminder of the past. The city has put measures in place to ensure that a tragedy like the Great Chicago Fire never happens again. Alaska Fire. Alaska in 2004 experienced a fire season that's etched into history as one of the most intense and devastating, the Alaska season. A staggering 6.6 million acres, which translates to about 2.6 million hectares of land, went up in flames. To put that into perspective, that's an area larger than the entire state of Vermont. This fire season is the worst ever recorded in Alaska in terms of the sheer amount of land burned. Now, here's the breakdown of how these fires started. 215 of them were ignited by lightning strikes, and the remaining 426? Well, those were the result of human activity. It's a stark reminder that human actions can have a profound impact on our environment, especially in such a delicate ecosystem. What made 2004 particularly devastating was the unusual weather. Alaska is known for its harsh and chilly climate, but that summer, things took a different turn. It was unusually warm and wet, especially when compared to the typical interior Alaskan summer. This bizarre weather pattern resulted in a record number of lightning strikes. For months, these strikes lit up the Alaskan skies, setting the stage for what would become a catastrophic fire season. But the twist in the tale came in August when the region suddenly turned dry. This unusual dry spell provided the perfect conditions for these fires to rage on, extending their destructive path well into September. And that's all for today. While these stories are sad and devastating, they are also loaded with lessons for the common people as well as the government. Please make sure to like the video and share it with your friends. We'll be back with another one soon.